Shavua Tov, everyone, and we have this special parasha called BeShalah. BeShalah is the parasha of the splitting of the Red Sea and the miracle of the 72 names. So what do we get out of it? First of all, last week, Parashat Bo, we read about the Exodus, getting out of Egypt. So we just finished by that thing of like the plague of the firstborn and the miracle of the starting to get out. In Parashat BeShalah, it's the getting out. So the words of the parasha, it's Exodus 13, verse 17. Vayi beshalach paro et ha'am. Okay, translation. Tough. The word Vayi means, and it was when. However, many of the commentators are saying Vayi sounds Vai, whoever knows Yiddish, Vei, pain. He means mourning and pain also. Vayi means that like something not so good. Beshalach paro et ha'am means as Pharaoh sending the people away. Okay? And we get two things about it. One, why is it pain? They just got out of Egypt. Says the Zohar, something that is very important for us to understand. The rest of the verse. Amar Rabbi Shimon, the Zohar says Rabbi Shimon, בואו, come and see. כשיצאו ישראל ממצרים הייתה רוחם נשברת בקרבם. As the Israelites left Egypt, do you think they were happy? No, they were not. They were broken. Why? They were broken.
Oh,
broken. Why? Because the Zohar says, כאשר מניח אדם מלאכתו, הוא מרגיש שבר עצמותיו ושבר רוחו. כך ישראל כאשר יצאו ממצרים היו תואמים טעם איתה. When the Israelites were in Egypt, they had one thing in mind: survival. They had hard slave labor, everything. The Egyptians did everything to demise the Israelite nation. We know they hate them archaeologically because the first inscription in Egyptian archaeology is Pharaoh writing, I destroyed the nation of Israel, there are no Israel anymore. That's the most ancient document that the name Israel. Pharaoh saying, I destroyed them, there's no Israel anymore. They hated us so much. Okay? By the way, where's Pharaoh? Where's us? Okay? The one who laughs is the one who laughs last. Right? So, Pharaoh is gone, but the question was, they were there in one thing: survival mechanism. Nothing else. Says the Zohar, somebody is in that place. When you get him out from the slavery, and he has no threat of death hanging over anymore, they start to realize what happened to them. They were broken. It started to come back. The picture of the killing, of the babies, of the slave labor, of the... You know what? Every time I read this sentence, I remember, you see those videos of the Allies liberating the concentration camps. You don't see happy people. They're just standing there, broken. Before that, everything was just surviving another minute, That was the goal, to survive another hour, to survive another day. The moment they were free, it hit them, what they went through. They were broken. It took them time to get away from that. So says the Zohar, the first thing was reviving them. Says the Zohar, והיו שומעים תשבחות של המלאכים ולא יכלו לשמוח בהם. They heard the angels singing. A new stage of history of mankind came to the world. Liberation, freedom, the freedom to be happy. Even, what about the Egyptians that were in Egypt? The ethnic Egyptians, were they free? Who paid building the pyramids? The egomaniac pyramids, one tomb for one person. Who paid for that? Who labored for that? The Egyptians. They were not free people. They couldn't just do whatever they wanted. They have no free will to choose who's going to be their leader or to choose about, the kings of the ancient times. The people were their property. You were a property. You were a subject, a serf. Till not late. The first time people were free, we're talking about this reading. BeShalah, you coming out and being free. There are a lot of syndromes about, trying to set an animal to freedom when it's born in a cage, grew up in a cage.
Yeah.
They don't know how to live in freedom. Most people don't want freedom because they can't take the responsibility. Right? Freedom is responsibility. And you know that someone said, I don't remember, it was Elie Wiesel, said in America they have the Statue of Liberty. In Hebrew, liberty is cherut. They should have another statue in LA, the statue of achrayut, responsibility. Achrayut, cherut. Cherut and achrayut is to say two sides. It's like both are the same thing. It's about, you want liberty, you need responsibility. Responsibility is the price tag for liberty. They were broken. They couldn't get it yet. What does it mean, liberty? They were just aftermath of being slaves. You know what? Let's say they didn't go through slave labor. They were just simple Egyptians. They were slaves. They were slaves. The king could take away from you, and the kings did. Your daughters, your money, your property, everything, whatever. Your assets. You didn't have anything of your own. You were property. Correct? That was the world till not long ago. Today, in many places, you're not property on paper. But we are right now property of Google and of Facebook and of all of those big companies. We're their property because they live on us. Because they make, the information they know about us, they give to all kinds of companies. And we are just like cultivated, and we live our life, become somebody else's asset. Okay? Meanwhile, we think they don't tell us what to do, but they do. We are brainwashed about what's right and what's wrong, what you're supposed to be watching and learning and knowing, what's the news you're supposed to hear about. Okay? But still, it's much, much better than it used to be. Till just a century ago, around the world. Where was there real democracy? Where was there real democracy? A century ago. I'm talking about not 3,000 years ago. A century ago. Okay? So, the moment you're being released, you're not just getting happy. It takes a while. And they had to go through a healing process. And that was the walking in the desert. That was a healing process. In the desert, you're free. No boundaries. No signs, you're not allowed. No stop. Parking, only between this time to another time. You just, everywhere you go, you have rules and regulations. You can't just do whatever you feel like, because someone would come and say, you're not supposed to do that. You know that. You're going to pay a fine. You're going to pay, all kinds. You have to pay for parking, standing, coughing, whatever, sneezing, biking, going into a city, getting out of the city, right? Everything is tax and everything. You just property. You're creating fortune for the big guys. Okay? But in the desert, nobody's there to tell you what to do. You can go right or left, down and up. You can sit on the ground, you can sit on whatever you want. No one will take you out. We have special rules. We had to go to the desert in order to free the spirit. And a lot of people, when they want to get free, they go to the desert. You can just, wherever you look, you see the view. There's no buildings, real estate, stopping, blocking you the view, stuff like this. Okay. When the Israelites left Egypt, they tasted the taste of death. It dawned on them what they went through. And it was tough. they were walking, but still the pain of the past. It's very hard to release the past, especially when you have no idea what is in you for the future, because you've never been free. How would you know? How could it be? How can you even dream about being free? You've never seen free people. Okay? And that's why it says, "Ve'Hashem olech lifneim yomam," and God is walking in front of them, every day. V'chol hadrachim. Okay, so that's one thing. So they were in pain. They were, it's like, in a crisis. And as we said before, when somebody wants to get free, there's a healing crisis. Let's say you eat the wrong food. A lot of gluten and sugar, right? And you stop. You get healing crisis. You smoke a lot. We spoke about it. And you stop smoking. You get sick. Why? Your body's starting to throw out all those materials, all those poisons that you injected inside. When you want to be free, you have to just, all of those ideas you mix up. Being a slave is a mentality. Releasing the slave mentality, that doesn't come just like this. Oh, I want to be free. Okay, you're free. It doesn't happen this way. How many people, after like decades, let's say in jail or in addiction, they get out, they have no idea. They prefer to go, to the confinement of the walls of jail, because here they know, what that the world expects from you. And you know what to expect from everyone. And you know the rules. Coming out to another environment, you have no idea how to live over there. Okay? So, and that's why when we say Vahi BeShalah Paro, why do we say BeShalah Paro? And when Pharaoh sent the people away, he didn't want to send them away. Well, how did he send them away? He got the plague of the firstborn, and then he said, get out of my country. But remember, we're not talking about history. We're talking about ourselves. And we said that Pharaoh was not just a figure in history in Egypt or in the Near East. Pharaoh is also our own tormentor, which is our evil inclination. The fears, the anger, all that kind of our nature, that is not working towards our interest, right? That is doing the self-sabotage, makes us speak when we're not supposed to speak, makes us shut up when we're supposed to speak, makes us lazy when we're supposed to be really excited, makes us excited when we're supposed to sit quietly, right? That's our Pharaoh inside. That's our bigger enemy, and it's the enemy within. Do you think that you just say, oh God, I want to get rid of my evil inclination, please take him away from me, and that's going to happen? Oh, of course, I'll take it away. The next moment, you're free. How do you know you're free? You can be happy as a bird. You can be, that's freedom. To be enslaved, you need to cooperate. People with a slave mentality, that's very easy to enslave. People that feeling free, it's almost impossible to enslave them. Free people with free spirit, you can try to enslave them, and they will react like, you're trying to do what? No, you can't do that. When we are enslaved to what somebody said, what somebody didn't say, what somebody gave, what somebody took, when we are enslaved to that, who are we enslaved to? Not to them. Not to them. We're enslaved to our own Pharaoh. Do you think that releasing Pharaoh is easy? Oh, that's the biggest thing. No pain, no gain. And the Kabbalists are saying this is like, one of the most precious commodity in the Middle East is olive oil. Olive oil. Now, do you get the olive, just get the olives from the tree, you just go to the olive tree with the jar and you say, okay, oil, please come in, and the oil jumps into your jar. No, it doesn't happen this way. You have to knock the tree till the olives fall. You collect them. Then, what do? You have to press them, and sometimes to heat them. When they're broken, the olive oil comes out. Same thing with our Pharaoh. He doesn't release us for free. We have to have a method of beating him up, our Pharaoh, till finally he lets us go. He needs to be plagued. How do you plague him? So in the ancient times, people fasted, people slept on the floor. Today, the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, said, today people are so weak. If they fast, they sleep on the floor, they become upset, miserable, sour, bitter. It's not going to work. But there's one way that is really sure to beat up Pharaoh. When you get your body to serve others, not because you care what they think about you, but because that's a way to connect to the light of God. So I'm not talking about, let's say you have family for Shabbat, okay? So you serve them, and inside you're complaining. Why did I invite them? Why do I need this headache? Why do I need to bother so much? I could invite half of them. I could invite them next week. I could get someone to help me, whatever. You do something good, but you do it with regret. That's not beating up Pharaoh. That's even getting him stronger. Beating up Pharaoh is to see that challenge and to say, to spite you, I'm going to do it with excitement till I'm exhausted. Who's exhausted? My Pharaoh is exhausted. But my neshama, my soul, is so happy. Why? You have to beat up the Pharaoh in you in order to have the neshama free, the soul free. So you need to do that. You have to push yourself always over the edge. Not because you want people to appreciate it, but because that's the only way you can get your body to get tired enough in service of the light. And you know what? There's an expression in Hebrew. How are you? Ayefim ach merutzim. Tired but so happy. Why you can't be like awakened and happy? You have to beat up Pharaoh. And if you don't get Pharaoh under the pressure of service of your family, service of your neighbors, service of your clients, service of whoever it comes on your way. Why? Because that's the way they do us a favor when they ask for something. Because when we get the toil, the effort in serving others with total happiness, why? Because that's the way we connect our soul to the Creator. So what happens to the body? He's complaining. Look at the story. That the body is the epitome of slavery. The body, if you just listen to your body, you'll be dead soon enough, right? Because the body will always tell you, no, it's too early to wake up. It's too late, too early to get to sleep. Why can't I eat more of this cake, sugar, whatever stuff? If we just eat whatever we feel like, if we just sleep as long as our body feels like, if we just do whatever body need we have, the moment we have this urge, we'll be dead long time ago, right? Discipline is the first thing with your body. Happy people are usually people that know how to put their body into discipline, right? Having the higher me, the true me, taking over the false me. Whatever is tasty is good for us? No. Anything that is enjoyable to do with our body is good for a long-term interest? For sure, no. So as a kid, it's known that kids that have the ability to take discipline, it's called the, I think there's like the test of the these little soft candies you put in the fire.
Oh, marshmallows?
Marshmallows. It's called the marshmallow test. They found out that little kids, you tell them that this way. You can get one marshmallow right now, and if you are willing to wait for an hour, you can get 4 of them. The ones who say, you know what, put the marshmallow away, I'll wait for an hour. And they don't nudge you. Is an hour over yet? No, the hour comes, they take the 4 or 5 marshmallows. These kids become much more successful people. They're the ones who give up the marshmallows, the big one, instead of one that they can't wait, that they must have it now. The short gain. So this is something we're born with. But this is just something you're born with when you're 4 years old, 5 years old. No, that's why we study. We study. We try to be in a spiritual environment, so that will help us. The study and the spiritual environment, it helps us to gain a higher level of discipline and self-control. Why? You want Pharaoh to let us go to freedom? He has to pay a price. He has to be under control. You have to beat him enough, like the olives, in order for him to release the oil. And the oil is a symbol for wisdom. Real wise people you can find where? When it's tough. Like you go to these places, these countries, the coconuts on the trees and bananas and fruits all over. It's always nice weather. It's never too cold. And when it's too warm, you go into the water and whatever. It's like, or you take off your clothes. These countries never develop a very sophisticated civilization because the necessity is the mother of all invention. You need only when you are in tough times, then you start generate wisdom, and especially spiritual wisdom. Only when you people are really challenged, because you need Pharaoh to let you go in order to be free. Too much comfort, too much good food. It says, Vaishman Yeshurun Vaivat. You get fat, you kick the bucket of milk that you were drinking from. That's what happens. And where is that? It's coming from heaven, everything. And that wisdom is not coming for free. No free lunches. And then, now we can understand the next part of the verse and the rest of the parasha. Whoever can look at the map of the Middle East. Okay? Now, think about it. This is Egypt. Okay? Egypt, north of Egypt, you have the Mediterranean Sea. Okay? If you want to go to Israel from Egypt, and the Israelites lived in a country of Goshen, which is around the delta, according to most commentators. So the delta of the Nile is really close to the Mediterranean. In order to go to Israel, you just have to follow the coastline. And if you follow the coastline, 3 days walk, you are in the gates of Gaza, and that means you're entering right now the Holy Land. Correct? This way. Okay, you have to go to the east. And it says, Velo nacham. I'm still in the same verse. Remember, verse 17. Velo nacham Elohim derech eretz Plishtim, ki karovu. And God did not lead them through the land of the Philistines because it was too close. Okay? He wanted them to go through another level. Vayasev Elohim et ha'am derech hamidbar Yam Suf. And he turned them around. Vayasev is from the word lasot sivuv, to take a turn. You look at the map. Instead of going east, straight east, and you know what? You don't want to go through Gaza. Gaza is always inhabited by troublemakers. At that time, there were the Plishtim. Plishtim, you know what's the Plishtim, the Philistines. Because everybody knows their name from Hebrew, because the Hebrews call them the invaders. That's what Plishtim or Philistines mean, the invaders. They came from the islands. Which islands? Mostly from Crete, some from Sardinia. They came, they knew how to create iron weapons, and either they conquered lands or they were hired to fight in the big armies of the Near East. So they were there, so of course they were fortified, they were great warriors. So you don't want to go to Gaza? If you go straight to the east from Egypt to the coastline, you continue to BeShalah, and from BeShalah you make a detour, you go straight to the middle of the country. You don't have to go through to Gaza, through the Philistines. Okay? Why? No, it says, and God wanted them to go around. Going to the Red Sea, you have to go south instead of east. They went south to cross the Red Sea. There's no water barrier between Egypt and Israel or the Sinai. Today there's a Suez Canal, but at that time there was nothing. You could just walk. Why do you have to go through the sea? Let's see. So, they come from Egypt, they go through the desert, finally they are being led into the coast of the Red Sea. As they're standing there, it was like a passage through the mountains. They're facing the sea, mountains on the right, mountains on the left, no way to go, only back. You turn back, you see Pharaoh and his army. You're being caught in the most dangerous place. It's to be or not to be. And there's no choice. Pharaoh is for the vengeance. He wants to kill. He's there for the kill. Right? Because the Israelites really insulted him. How come? Let's go back. Pharaoh, you must be intelligent. After 10 plagues, you want to start the whole thing all over again? Huh, Pharaoh? Why did you come after them? We're not talking politics. We're not talking history. We're talking about us. We finally got out of any kind of addiction. Cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, okay? You cleaned finally. You went to, how do you call it? Rehab center, okay? By court order. You're there for almost 2 months. That's usually the time, okay? From my experience. You know, like withdrawal from drugs and stuff like this and being caught again and again. You know, from my experience in the States, it was like 56 days minimum till you get out to be free. Okay? Few weeks later, you're back to the rehab center. Why? Somebody hurt you, your girlfriend left you, your partner betrayed you, whatever, you go back to the drugs and to alcohol. Why? Why? We have a built-in mechanism of forgetfulness. We forget Pharaoh, we forget the hit. That's the definition of the evil inclination, the definition of the Pharaoh. You're being hit, you suffer, you make mistakes, and you go back to the same thing. As the sages in the Talmud call it, Kekelev hashav al ki'o. It's very brutal, like a dog that vomits and eats up its vomit. That's how terrible it is. What we do, we get rid finally of bad habits, and soon enough we go back to them. Never happens, only to very few people, right? No, it happens to all of us. That's what Pharaoh is about. You can never trust him. You can never think, no, I'm already beyond that. I'm not going to be addicted anymore, not to these habits. Even the Baal Shem Tov, the great Baal Shem Tov, founder of Hasidic movement, was such a righteous person, such a high-level person, all his life committed to spirituality and to this ongoing war against negativity, against lies and stuff like this. When he was dying, on his deathbed, one of his students realized he's mumbling. So he put his ear next to the Baal Shem Tov's mouth, and he heard about the Shem Tov's praying, please God, help me from pride. Save me from pride. Till his last moment, he was afraid it's going to get him. This is his last moment. Why? It says in the Talmud, even the whole world says you are righteous, don't trust yourself. You can always sabotage your best interest by your stupidity. Why? As long as you live in a body, you have that inclination, right? And whoever says he overcame his ego, he'll be lying about other things too, right? Nobody overcame his ego. As long as you're alive, you have some of it. Why? You have a body, you breathe, you eat, you have some bad inclination. You have the tendency to make mistakes, and you have to be on the watch out. If you're not watching it, you're messing it up, correct? Otherwise, you'll be in heaven with wings, flying there from one party to another, and having fun. While you're here, you still have a challenge, overcoming on Pharaoh. So now, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Now we're in chapter 14, the most amazing chapter in the whole Torah. And God speaks to Moses and says, Daber bnei Yisrael vayashuvu vayachanu lifnei pi achirot. And he says, go there and let them camp with the Israelites, let them camp on the mouth of freedom. That's the place, that's the name of the maid. Pi, the mouth of Chirut. So says Rashi, the mouth of freedom. That's the place they became free. Didn't they become free when they left Egypt? As we said, they were not. If you're not aware of being free, and you're just simply miserable because you've been enslaved, you're still a slave. Why is that the place they became free? Let's read. And they were camping in front of the sea. ואמר פרעה לבני ישראל, נבוכים הם בארץ, סגר עליהם המדבר. And Pharaoh will think, they are lost. They have nowhere to go. We got them. וחיזקתי, and Pharaoh will see that he'll be seduced to attack. Right? And God said, that's a setup. He will attack, I'll finish him off. That's what it says. Okay. ויוגד למלך מצרים כי ברח העם, and it was said to the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, that the nation was running away. What do you mean running away? You told them to get out. You told them to go. Isn't that what we have about our own? We get out of our habits when we're beaten up terribly. But then, when everything is nice again, we have no problem to go back. And to forget all the pain. Just, selling a kingdom for just a little cupcake. Right? Or ice cream. Correct? I'm not saying it's bad to eat cupcakes or ice cream. It's bad to be addicted. Okay? Okay, they go for the war. And they run after him. And then we're coming to that important verse. Verse 10. ופרעה הקריב. Now, in the translations I know, to English it says, and Pharaoh approached. But that's not what Rashi is saying. Rashi is saying very clearly, Rashi, the great commentator, that he lived in France in the 11th century. He is the best-selling commentator to the Torah for the last 1,000 years. That's a real brand name. To be on the top of the market for 1,000 years in every Jewish community around the world. He's on the top list. You don't print Torah with commentary without Rashi. It's like, it's like going naked. Okay. ופרעה הקריב, היה לו לכתוב פרעה קרב. Rashi says it should be said, and Pharaoh approached. Karav is approached. It doesn't say, מה הוא הקריב? What does it mean hikriv? Hikriv, if you know Hebrew, karav means, karav, it's from binyan pa'al. Pharaoh made an action. What action? He approached. Okay, that's active. Simple active. Hikriv is hif'il. Hif'il means activating someone else. It should have said, and Pharaoh approached, karav. Why does it say hikriv? Hikriv is getting someone else closer. Oh yes. Says the Zohar, he brought the Israelite closer to God. Why? The next word, Vayis'u bnei Yisrael et einehem, and the Israelites raised their eyes. V'nei Mitzrayim noseh acharem, and they see Egypt traveling after them. Vayiru mod, they got really scared. Vayitzaku bnei Yisrael Hashem, and they yelled and screamed and prayed to God. Okay? That's the way it is. What's so special about it? When you're a slave, a real slave, you don't pray to anyone. You're just being a victim, and that's it. The world is terrible, the world is negative, and that's why you don't believe in anything good. If there's nothing good, there's nothing to pray to. Again, the ancient paganism was based in one very important saying. Evil is eternal, good is temporary. The moment you turn to the gods, if they didn't notice you till now, they will notice you now and take away whatever you still have. That was getting people to submission, because no one is going to come for your help. This is the first time in history that a nation is praying to God. And to which God? To the God of hope, kindness, love. This is the first moment Israel is stepping up to the stage of history. Thanks to whom? Pharaoh. This time, they are 6 days after, they start to raise their eyes and to feel free. What does it mean to feel free? You're free to hope. You're free to have a vision that you deserve something better. You're free to pray without being afraid that you're going to be smitten by this power that doesn't like you. He likes the big ones. He likes the strong ones. He likes the rich ones. He likes the elite. He doesn't like you because you're no one. Those people were the caste of slaves till 6 days ago. They are praying to God from the place that, God, we are your nation. You're not going to let us go right now. You're going to do something about it. Do you understand that this is the important moment in history? Till now, the Israelites were passive. Who gave the 10 plagues? Moses and Aaron. Oh yeah, but they slaughtered a lamb. A big deal to slaughter a lamb. They were told to slaughter a lamb, so they slaughtered a lamb. They just used to do what they're being, and Moses was now powerful enough, so they were in submission to Moses. He told them to slaughter a lamb. They slaughtered the lamb and barbecued the lamb and ate it with a matzah. Big deal. You're not getting freedom for that. But now 6 days later, they pray. They pray from the bottom of their hearts. The first time a whole nation is praying. Praying from the place there's no way that God is going to throw us to the dogs. They're still slaves, they're still complaining, but there's a difference. They know there's someone to pray to. This is the first time in history someone ever did that as a nation. Everyone. Old, young, kids, grown up, women, men, everyone. They were praying to God. What does it mean? You get close to God and you're not waiting for someone to do it for you. This is a turn in history. Since Abram, this Abram's dream coming true. He was alone. Now it's offsprings 400 years later. And now they do it as a nation. But that was not enough for God. Because his answer is so weird. ויצעקו בני ישראל על אדוני, and the children of Israel are yelling, screaming to God. Okay? And verse 15, ויאמר אדוני אל משה, and God says to Moses, מה תצעק אליי? What are you yelling at me? The same verb. ויצעקו, and they yelled. מה תצעק אליי? Why are you yelling at me? You would think like, this is like, okay, you're not supposed to talk to me? Oh, it's only the king's talking to me. You talk to your teacher, you talk to your priest, you talk to your rabbi. He will talk to God for you. No, this was not the case. The case was so different. And here comes one of the most secretive, the most biggest secret of the whole Zohar. That's the secret of מה תצעק אליי. That's in the Zohar, פירוש הסולם, verse 82. ויאמר השם אל משה מה תצעק אליי. מילה דאה וכמוה בספרה דצניעותה. ותמנו רזה דילי, ויאמר השם אל משה, רבי יהודה פתח במה והתפלל על שם עליונה. Okay, just a second, he's hiding that. Verse 89. ודבר אל בני ישראל ועשו, he says, what are you yelling at me? מה תצעק אליי? דבר אל בני ישראל ועשו. Talk to the children of Israel and let them travel. And the Zohar is saying, ועשו מלהשגה מילין. לאו עידנה דצלותה השתה. ועשו וכילאן אתה פקיד לו ואינטלון. דהל ימה אבו שרן. I'm reading the words of Rabbi Shimon. אלא הדר לעילה, דכתיב מה תצעק אלי דאכולו באתר דה קיימי, ודה ועשו אינטלון מנדה, דלאו עידנהו. And that's what the Zohar is saying. The Zohar is saying, and he talked to the children of Israel and let them travel. And the Zohar is asking, travel where? They were camping on the sea. There are two kinds of miracles. One kind of miracle is the simple miracle. It's a miracle of the change of heart. You're excited, you're upset, you're miserable, you're frightened, you're lost. And you pray to God, and from the prayer, from the words, from the turning to God, you get yourself out of the hysterical moment and you achieve serenity and certainty. That's a miracle. Because what's the definition of miracle? It's something out of nature. If your nature is to get hysterical and upset, and you control yourself and you became serene and quiet with total faith that everything will be okay, and you get your marbles back, and suddenly you can find the solution instead of focusing on the problem. This is a miracle, because the miracle is a change of nature. Your nature that was till now always getting upset and losing your marbles, you transform it. This is a huge sense of victory. When you go another time to the same situation and you always react the same way. But through the prayer you learn and you teach yourself to achieve that place of calm and serenity, the place of certainty. Everything looks different. Everything feels different. Everything is taken differently. The picture is different. That's a miracle, because that's a change of nature. However, says God to Moses, in this case, that's not going to help. Don't yell to me. Don't yell. We spoke, what did we say? The name of God, Youdkevitch, symbolize hope, love, compassion, unity, positivity. Somebody loves you. It's not always the answer. This God is telling Moses, it's not me. You have to travel. Where? To travel to a higher level. You have to travel to the level of a miracle that can transform physicality, can transform everything to the core. There's no time right now for a prayer to achieve serenity. You'll be serene and the Egyptian will kill you. You need a higher level of a miracle. You need to change reality, not your approach to reality. You have to change reality. And that's what he says. So, when we travel, it's move on. Hainu, move on. Do not pray to me anymore. It's not the time for that. Ki en zman letfilata. It's not the time for prayer. Shoel v'isau le'eze makom tzivah. Where to? Travel where to? Arei al hayam hayu shoim. They were dwelling on the sea. Umeshiv and answer Sovev. Travel upwards. Upwards. Upwards where? So they go and connect to that place that is called the Dikna, the upper beard. It's a secret thing. We spoke about it a few times. The Mazalah. Sometimes you need to connect not to positivity and love, because that change of feel will change your approach. It's the time to, sometimes you connect to the source of creation, to the original Sphira, to the Sphira which is called Keter, or Atika, or Atik. That place is the place. What is Atik?
Hope.
Atik. Atik means either antique, that's Hebrew, antique, but what does it mean? It doesn't mean something that is very old, something that is so early in the beginning of everything. It's from the word leha'atik, to copy. When the thought of the creation, which is all what? Good, is being copied down to the physical reality. When that starts to emerge, that's called Keter. That's the seed of all of creation. What was the seed of all creation? The desire of the endless light to share with us. To share what? Endless joy. Sometimes you need to connect to the seed level. Why? Because in the seed level, everything is possible. Everything is possible. So what God is saying to Moses, don't pray to me. You should travel even higher than that. Right now you have to perform a miracle of changing the rules of nature. How? When you connect to the source with total, unconditional faith in the good. In that moment you connect yourself to the creation in its inception. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. That's a higher level of a miracle. Which means H2O will become a highway in room temperature. Water that usually drown people that walk on it won't drown you. You walk straight through the water and nothing bad will happen to you. Why? Because the water are also coming from that place. And that's how we understand the rest of the words. What are the rest of the words? It says, travel to the children of, talk to the children of Israel and let them travel forward. And then verse 17 16, I'm sorry. ותערם את מתך, now you raise your staff. נטה על הים. נטה means to tilt, but also מטה, נטה, control. On the sea, and split it. God is telling Moses what? To split the sea. Who splits the sea? Moses. God says, you wanted to be a creator? What was the purpose of the creation? You were created in the image of God, and now I want to teach you that you be a co-creator. You create with me. I'm letting you right now to change the rules of nature, physical nature. I'm going to teach you can make everything happen. Everything happen. You hit the sea. You split the sea. ויבואו בני ישראל בתוך הים ביבשה, and the children of Israel will walk through the sea on dry land. Who splits the Red Sea? Moses and the children of Israel. Why? Because the story is that Moses splits the sea. He splits the sea. But the Israelites don't see that. He tells them, guys, the sea is split, you can go. The eyes can't see that. Why? Because your brain cannot fathom that something like this can happen. So you know what happened? It says Nachshon ben Aminadav, the head of the tribe of Judah, said, if Moses said that the sea is split, so it's split, we go. And he jumped into the sea and started walking. You know what? Sometimes you see, like in Israel, you see this huge flock of birds migrating from north of Russia to Europe through Israel. And Israel is a haven, they rest. And you see the thousands and thousands of birds making circles, and they finally rest. I remember as a kid watching them, it's like so many birds. And suddenly one bird decisively takes off, and everyone after that bird. That's what happened. And that's why in Hebrew, I want to say that someone like set the path. He went through and everybody after him. It's called the jump of Nachshon, Kfitzat Nachshon. Nachshon jumped, everybody after him. They walked through, up, the water were up to here. But they went on. And only then, when they had, if the water are split, the water are split. There's no way that the Creator is going to throw his treasure to the dogs and let it drown. We are going through no matter what. Only then the sea split. So who split the sea? Moses and the Israelites. This is much higher than a miracle. This is a super miracle. This is a miracle that is beyond logic. Why? Because that's our calling. As humans, we were created as a co-creator. So the Creator is teaching us how to be creators ourselves. And that's why he sends Pharaoh after us. So we come to that place, there's no way to go. And some people die, and some people make a miracle and get out of it without even, that was impossible. Yeah, but you got out. How did you do that? I have no idea. I made a miracle. How does that feel? If miracles are possible, then everything is possible. Then it feels like worthwhile living. Why do we love miracles? Because that's something, this is our innate need. Because the moment we are created in the image of God, we have to perform miracles. Both of them. The miracle of change of nature and the miracle of changing nature, the nature. So nature becomes our servant instead of our foe. This is what this parasha is about. How do you do that? So we said, the first thing, in order to do that, to reach that place, you have to control your Pharaoh. You have to train your Pharaoh to serve a higher cause. You have to get your body out of your bed to serve humanity. You have to get your body out of the heat to the cold, out of the cold to the heat, whatever, to discomfort. Why? Your body will be complaining? Good for you. Good for you. You need that. Right? Discipline and service. This is one, that's a must-be step. And when you do that, you start to realize that things that basically were impossible become possible. Things that before you couldn't overcome, you can overcome. Why? Because when your Pharaoh serves you, instead of sabotaging everything, your Pharaoh, I'm talking about our own body consciousness, there's no limit. The sky is not even the limit. But then you reach another level. You reach that it's not just a change of your own nature. You can change the rules of the game from its inception. And whatever was impossible became, why not? Why is it that people are so excited of great inventions? Why is it people are so excited of all the movements of mankind towards? Because it's our need. It's our need. Why are we so excited about being free? Because we're born to be free. It's not normal to be a slave. But we're a slave, first of all. To be a slave, you need to accept it. You need to agree. You know what? As we said, to be a slave, that's for free. To be independent and free, oh, that's a lot of hard work. A lot of responsibility. You have to be aware and up 24/7. Because someone will take over the moment you fall asleep. How do you become really free? When you connect not to happiness and godly, being nice to everyone. No, when you connect to the source of the creation. How do you do that? We said last week, the whole book is called the Book of Names. And when it says, Boel Paro, you have to get into Pharaoh and get the letters in him. These letters, these letters will call the light in it. And when the letters call the light into Pharaoh, he will be diminished. When he's gone, everything is possible. Why? Pharaoh makes us blind, stupid, deaf. We hear almost nothing. We see almost nothing. Oh, we can see with our eyes, but we don't see it. How many times? How could I be so blind? The inscription was on the wall. Correct? Why? Because our noise inside of the Pharaoh. They like me, they don't like me, they will call, they want going to make a, they're coming, they're going to buy, not going. Oh, this Pharaoh makes so much noise. When the true information comes through, it gets lost with the noise. When you make it quiet, whoa, the whole world is opening up. But how do you get to that place of true miracle? That's the next verses. And the next verses 19, 20, and 21, describe the splitting the Red Sea. And these three verses, only in Hebrew, have 72 letters each. 72 letters each, that means, wow. That means the 72 names of God that Moses splits the Red Sea with. Why do I have to know that Moses split the Red Sea with that? Very simple. Because I need to split my own Red Sea. So I need to know the access code. What kind of letters do I have to put in my Pharaoh in order to finish him so I can be free to create the impossible? So, the Zohar explains that. In the many Zohar editions you have it also. And you probably, if you heard something about Kabbalah, you heard about the 72 names of God. And you can see the chart of the 72 names of God that is made from these three verses. Okay? There's a lot of information about it on the net. You can look for it if you don't know yet. But one verse goes forward, one verse goes backwards. and the third verse goes forward, then you get in each box over here, in each box, you have 3 letters. The first one from the first verse, the second from the second verse, the third from the third verse. Why forward, backwards, forwards? It's like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right, chesed, that's right to left. Gvura, judgment, that's left to right. And then when the chesed overcomes the gvura, the judgment, when the loving kindness overcomes, that's again from the beginning. That's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right, left, and center. So how do you connect to that? Simply scan the 72 names anytime you need to create a miracle. Scan again and again and again, asking for a miracle. Now, what a secret, that's only in the Zohar. No. Rashi, we said he was a Kabbalist. The first place we can see it detailed this way, I don't know the first, but like in the open, in the Talmud, tractate Sukkah. Sukkot. In Sukkah, in the Sukkah, you shake the lulav. After shaking the lulav, right, left, back, center, up, down, back, then you take the lulav and the etrog and so on, and you go around the beam, around the synagogue. That's called Hoshanot. And then in the end of the Shanot, when you complete a circle, you say, Ani Vaho Hoshiana. Says Rashi in the Talmud. We said he is the leading commentary not just on the Tanakh, but also on the Talmud. You can't study Talmud in the yeshiva anywhere without studying Rashi. And Rashi said that these 3 verses, 19, 20, 21 in chapter 14 Exodus, these 3 verses are 72 letters each. When you put them together, you get the 72 names of God. When you take the 72 names of God, there are many ways to look at them, but one way is to split them into 2 groups of 36. Lamed Vav. 36 is an important number. The first one of the second group is Ani. The first one of the first group is Vaho. Ani Vaho, says Rashi, these are 2 names that are special. If you don't have the time to scan the whole 72, just focus on Ani Vaho. And that will give you help, salvation. That will give you Yeshua, salvation. Ani Vaho Hoshiana. Every religious Jew makes that prayer. Most of them, I checked it out, didn't notice what Rashi was saying about it in the Talmud. This is. So, is it the only one? No. It's all, the whole thing is full. So there are 2 magical numbers connecting to the upper world. One is 72. That repeats itself many places. Every time the number 72 appears, it means connecting beyond physicality, beyond logic, beyond limitation. Everything is possible the moment you bind yourself with the Creator. And the moment you have that certainty that He's not going to leave you alone, things will happen. How? You don't care. Because the logic that got you into the trouble won't get you out of it. You need a new logic. So you're ordering a new logic. The other number that does it is 78. 78, that's another meditation. It's the name of God, right, left, and center. Youdkevitch to the right, 1 to the left, 1 to the center. These 3 of them comes together, 26 is each one of them, together 78. So it's called meditating on all 3. The one on the right in white, the one on the left in red or gold, and the one in the middle in green. When you concentrate on 3 of them, you get 78. 78 is Mazalah. That's where all good fortune is coming from. That's the seed. There are many places you meditate on that. When you bless on the Chalot on Shabbat, you do that. When you pray Amidah, the silent prayer, the first blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem, Magen Avraham, Youdkevitch on the right. Baruch Atah Hashem Mechayei HaMetim, that's on the left. Baruch Hashem Hakel HaKadosh, in the middle. You have three of them. Think on the three and connect to miracles every day. And everything is possible by then. And the history of the Israelites since till today shows there were always miracles that nobody can understand. And that's what life is about. It's all about miracles. Thank you so much, and have a week full of miracles.
Thank you very much.